Hello, everyone. Thank you again for joining myself, Justin Crosscarry, your host of the Simplify Your Life Summit. I am joined by Miss Lorna, and she is a coach, and she's also a coach for the coaches of one of my favorite mentors, Mr. John C. Maxwell, and which is incredibly exciting because, I've been following John for quite some time, read a few of his books, and when it comes to simplicity, he is the man when it comes to that. And so Lorna Weston-Smyth, right? Is
That's
it Smith?
correct.
Perfect.
It's Smith, not Smythe. Smythe has an E.
Perfect. I would love for you just to share a little bit about your history, how you got to, being one of the founding members of that, and just what you're up to. You're up to a lot of big things.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invite. I'm absolutely thrilled to be able to share this with all of your audience here. I'm a serial entrepreneur, but I started a full-time business when my kids no longer needed a full-time mom back in 2000. I started a painting business, as in ladder and brush. But after 10 years of doing that, the body's like, you better move on or you're not going to move. So I had to look around and see what is it that I really love to do that I could still do for a number of years and where age was an asset, not a handicap. So I looked at some of the things that I love doing and I stumbled on coaching. And I thought, oh, this is marvelous. I've actually been coaching since my early teens. I just didn't realize I could do it as a profession. So I looked at some of the coaching programs, and they were anywhere from, about 16,000 up to 85,000 for a nice, pretty piece of paper that said, here, you're a coach, go figure the rest out. Well, I said, not right now. And, a couple of days later, I got an invitation to join the John Maxwell team. He was just launching his John Maxwell team program. And, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up because, how could I say no to this? Because it was so much more than just the coaching program. It is sales training and speaking training and coaching and a whole business model for growing a business, a coaching business. So I said yes, and the rest is history. I jumped in. I've been on the team since 2011. I am a founding member. I have been serving the team since 2012. We launched our first Youth Max global program. It was a free for the month of April, where team members all around the world were serving youth, teaching them about leadership. And I have been serving the team ever since. I'm on the President's Advisory Council. I served as on the member-to-member resources, and now I'm on the executive committee, serving over the content branch, as well as a faculty member, training our members all around the world on how to build their business, how to take the material and really grow their impact, whether that is building a business or within their organization or just within their community.
Wow, what a gift. It's so funny how the universe works and how the world works, right? When you were looking to be a coach and all of a sudden you get that invitation. That is a sign right there, and I'm glad you trusted yourself and went with that. I would love to know, as I mentioned earlier, John C. Maxwell, just the way he puts things into perspective just makes so much sense and really hit home. What are some of the simple things that you've learned, especially being there since 2011, that are some simple things that we can actually introduce into our lives today, myself, the viewers, that's really powerful?
Absolutely. One of the, there's lots of that I've learned from him. One of the things that always sticks with me is that he says that consistency compounds. So it's not about the big leaps that everybody wants. It's the small steps, daily steps we take every day. Nothing will change until you change your daily agenda, what you do every day. So really focusing on the 5 areas. He has 5 areas that he focuses on every day. He's been focusing on them for 40 years. And that is really how he's gotten where he is. It's just consistency. We all want to be that overnight success, but it takes those small steps, consistent actions that really make the success.
Yeah. I remember listening to him speak, and somebody asked him, because he's written over 80 books, and somebody asked him, how did you get to write over 80 books? Like, that's incredible. And he goes, well, every day. He has that calm, grandpa by the fire style, which I love. Every day I read, I write, I think, What else does he do? There's two other things. There's 5 things that he does every day.
Files.
Files.
And he interacts with people. He talks to people.
Talks to people. And he goes, so if it's a Tuesday, I read, I write, I file, interact with people. If it's my birthday, I read, I write, I interact with people, yada, yada. If it's New Year's, I read, I write. And it's that consistency that builds. And we all know, we're all pretty aware of that when it comes to money. Monetarily, we've heard that compound, 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 but also the little things that we do every day.
It's everything. It's our relationships. It's our success. It's our business. It's everything. It's those consistent actions that make such a difference.
Yeah. And I would love to hear, so one thing I wanted to touch base with, because I think it's troublesome for not just myself, but tons of people, when we are attempting those things, those little habits, especially if they're 5, like that's a lot. It does take time, right? Mm-hmm. And we have that little voice that decides to tell us that we're not good enough. We're not going to do it. This is only going to last a week. What are some ways that we can calm that voice and get past that?
Well, one of the things that I know and that I've learned is that goal setting is a process. It's a creative process. And that failure, that quitting is actually part of the process. That time when we feel like we can't do it, like we'll give up on ourselves, is really, if we understand the law of rhythm, we see this in the tides, we see this in the season, that quitting is simply it's part of the goal setting process, and it's a time to reflect and to reignite the passion in us to go forward, to look at other ways we can go forward, because maybe we're hitting that wall and we just can't see how to get past. Maybe we needed to step back and look at other ways of doing it. So recognizing that. And the other thing is staying in that land of possibility, knowing that whatever it is that you've trying to achieve, it's probably not as big a deal as maybe learning how to fly. Because at one time, the Wright brothers, they were building a machine, but not only did they had to build it, they also had no pilot's license. Mm-hmm. What they were doing was completely beyond what anybody else had ever done. In fact, their family actually tried to have them committed, but we will go there. But it's staying in that land of possibility and saying, you know what? Maybe I don't know how to do it yet, but I've done this and I've done that and I've figured this out. I didn't know how to walk at one time, but I learned. I didn't know how to ride a bike at one time, but I learned. I didn't know how to drive a car at one time, but I learned. And it is staying in this land of possibility, because as adults, we feel like we've got to get it right the first time. We got to get it perfect, and recognizing that failure is part of that success process. It's okay. Get up, pick yourself up, and start again.
So what would you suggest with that little voice? Is that just, similar meditation, just let it be, listen to it? What are some tips that you give your students?
That voice is like the schoolyard bully. You have to stand up to it. You have to tell it, look, I've done that may have been me in the past, but this is not me now. I am going to do this, and this is what I can do, and I know I can do this.
I love it. So when it comes to, when I hear you say the land of possibility, what comes to mind is vision. So, when I've heard about really figuring out your goals, like what's that ultimate vision, and kind of backtracking so you can make those goals to get you to that ultimate vision. So how does that work when you have purpose, you have vision, you have goals, like all these different things? How does that creative process work as far as bringing that all together so you can better understand what it is you need to do to get you where you ultimately want to be?
Absolutely. I know a lot of people struggle with this purpose and the vision and the goals, which comes first, and how do I maneuver that? And a lot of people think that it's the purpose. I've got to know my life purpose, and I don't know my life purpose, and I don't know what to do. But really, the biggest bang for your buck that you're going to get is the time you spend on your vision. Your vision is what you want this world to look like, ideally. How are you going to use your gifts and talents, and what will the world look like? That is your perfect image. And from that, then you can divine your purpose and understand, okay, this is what I want the ideal world to look like. This is who I want to be. This is what I want to have. These are the relationships I want to have. This is what I want to be doing. How do my gifts align with that? How am I going to use my gifts to create that? And from your purpose, from your vision comes your purpose. And it's okay if you don't know your purpose. Yes, because as you test yourself, as you do things, you're going to learn things. Your awareness is going to increase. And you're going to say, you know what, maybe that didn't work. Maybe I need to tweak it a little bit. And you're going to, it's a creative process. But once you've got your vision and then your purpose, then the natural outcome is your goals. But recognize that I like to say goals are more like the milestones. Remember a long time ago, we didn't have odometers and what have you. We had milestones that told us how far we are to the next city. And goals are really the milestones. They are not the end product. The vision is the end product. The goals are just the milestones that tell us, are we moving in the right direction or not?
I love that. And so would it be safe to say that those goals, those milestones, right? Actually, I have a better question. So let's say we have those goals or milestones, and it comes up to the date that, because we want them to be smart, right?
Yep.
Specific, measurable, attainable. I'm blanking on the other ones right now, but let's say we have the date, right? And we don't come up to that.
Yep.
What is that reevaluation process like? What do you see that maybe has people slip up? Or, is it better to shoot for the moon and shoot for the stars and hit the moon?
Yeah, aim for the moon, but it landed in the stars. But the thing is, so many people fall in love with the plan. They think that the goal is the end product. And if we don't hit it by the date, then we failed. But the purpose of the goal is to become the person who can create that in our lives. The date is just a guess. So if you get the date wrong, so what? Keep going until you get to the goal. It doesn't matter if the date is wrong. We missed. But that doesn't mean that you give up on the goal. Don't fall in love with the plan. Fall in love with the goal. That's where you're going.
I love it. That's very powerful. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that just had a big sigh of relief with that.
Oh, yeah.
It totally is like similar how you said earlier, riding a bike, So question for you. I know you work with a lot of executives and business owners. What are some simple things that you've seen that come up that they're missing when it comes to really taking their business? Because I know that's what you support them in doing, right? Going to the next level. What are some things that they are missing out on that when you maybe, shine a light on, they just go, oh my gosh, and they may have been missing?
Absolutely. I love that question because I have found so many of them are focused on the goals. They're focused on the bottom line. And they don't realize if you want to improve your bottom line, if you want to grow your business, the first thing you've got to do is grow yourself. As John Maxwell says, it's in the law of the lid. Everything rises and falls on leadership. If your business is here, but your leadership skills are here, that's the level of your business. It's never going to go any higher. So if you want to grow your business, the first thing you've got to do is grow yourself and understand, where do you need to grow? Do you need to grow better in your communication skills or in your vision casting, in hiring who is on your team or putting them in the best place? Because the best high performance teams have the right people in the right place doing the right things. That's how you get a high performance team. So to me, that's the number one thing. They don't see themselves as the lid on their business. They think it's the economy or the market or, if I sell more. Well, you've got to grow yourself first.
What I'm hearing you say is, rather than looking outward for different things, look inward. And that's so powerful. And that's really taking a stand and responsibility, which is not always easy, right? Swallowing that.
No,
But
But at the
so
same time, it's within our control then, isn't it?
it
It's on
is.
us.
Yes. I would love for you to speak into that real quick. How that shifts when you take responsibility as opposed to looking for outside circumstances.
Absolutely, because when we take responsibility for our results and our circumstances, we are no longer the victim in our circumstances. No matter what they are, we still have that power to change. It can change through our choices. It can change through our attitude. I love the formula E plus R equals O. Event plus response equals outcome. Well, if we want to change the outcome and we can't change the event, the only thing we can really change is our response. So being open to all of the possibilities, all of the responses, how we can do that. I love Viktor Frankl. I'm sure you've heard of his book, The Man's Search for Meaning.
Yep.
He was in a concentration camp, and yet he was still able to find meaning being in such horrible conditions. And the ones that were able to find that just a taste of hope, were the ones that survived.
Yeah, I actually have that book sitting right on the other side of my bed. That's my nighttime read. So I've been diving into that, and it's pretty mind-blowing.
Yes.
Our mind is incredibly powerful. Another book I've been reading right now is Joe Dispenza, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And utilizing that mind is something that we don't understand. We're not using enough of it. I think we use it in a lot of chaotic ways, right? All over the place. What are some ways that we can bring in some harmony, right? And some centeredness between work, life, family, hobbies, all these different things that we're trying to fit into 24 hours, which it feels like every day it becomes shorter and shorter.
Oh yeah. This is, and trust me, the older you get, the more that's on your plate and the harder that becomes. I love John's book, Today Matters. And in that, it's 12 decisions that you make early on, and then it's a matter of managing those decisions all through your life. Once you determine what is most important in family, in finance, and career, and all the areas of your life, it's so much easier. Balance, we talk about work-life balance, but you know what? How long can you stand on one foot? It takes a lot of energy, and it's not long before you're off balance. And it's the same thing when we try to find that work-life balance. As soon as we find it, something's changed and we're out of whack again. But if we are in harmony, and this is where really knowing our purpose is so important, and having a purpose, because the purpose becomes the filter through which we make all of our decisions. When we know that, then we know, is this in harmony with my purpose, vision, and goals? Is it moving me in the direction I want to go based on the decisions that I've already made? So making more decisions are like this. If you get an offer of a promotion, which is, yes, it's in harmony with your financial goals, but it means having to drive for 2 hours there and back now, well, that's going to be out of harmony with your family goals of spending time with your kids. So which is more, you've already made that decision, which is more important? Is it spending time with your kids, or is it you're going to say, you know what, I'd love to, but no thank you, because this is now more important. And that's how you find more harmony in your life, rather than trying to find that balance, because balance is always going to be a battle.
So would you say that really getting in tune with your values is probably one of the most important things you could do?
Absolutely. Knowing your values, knowing what it is you want to create, that's your vision, and knowing your gifts and talents and how you are going to use that in your purpose. Because if you are trying to do something that's not in harmony with your talents, it's also going to be a struggle. That's when we have stress. As Simon Sinek, stress happens when we're doing something that we don't love. That's, as far as I'm concerned, I'm passionate about what I do. I can do 16, 18-hour days because I love doing it. Now, a lot of people would say, well, that's out of balance. But you know what? It's not with my balance. It's in balance. It's in harmony with where I am right now in my life. My kids are grown. So I don't have to be that full-time mom anymore. I have the time to spend on this now.
And it aligns with your values.
It aligns
Giving
with
back.
my values.
Yes. Beautiful. So for those that may be watching and they may be, whether it be a 9-to-5 job, or maybe it's a career that they jumped into and they're like, this is not what I wanted to do. And I'm searching for my purpose. I'm searching for my meaning. And Lorna, I'm frustrated. I cannot figure it out. Where do I turn?
I would, the very first thing that I love to do with my coaching clients is help them understand where their gifts and talents are, how they are wired. So the first thing that I'll give them is a Maxwell DISC personality report. It's based on the DISC method, and it really helps them understand who they are, how they like to be communicated in, what is their area that they are going to find the most satisfaction in. And that gives you now clues. It's kind of like the breadcrumb trail of Hansel and Gretel. If you follow the breadcrumbs, then you can find that. And sometimes your impact on the world, your bigger purpose and vision might not be you leading the pack. Maybe it's attaching yourself to someone who is. Maybe it's becoming, like I found within the John Maxwell team. I'm now linking arms with over 30,000 members around the world, all doing this, all making an impact on the world. But I'm not the one leading the tribe. John is. So aligning yourself with other people who are moving in the same direction. And like I said, you don't have to know your purpose right from the start. It's a living, it's like a living being. It's going to grow as your awareness grows.
And that's huge, being surrounded by those people, because that is a constant, speaking of up-leveling yourself, those people that you're surrounded by are going to be consistently up-leveling you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you saw my invitation to the Simplify Your Life Summit, I would love to hear, what was something that came to your mind being a coach and doing this for, almost that's going to be 10 years, or I know you mentioned you've been doing it
9 years now.
9 years officially, but even longer.
Yep. I'm going into my 10th year now. But
congrats.
Yeah, coaching a lot longer, and I won't share that number.
What was something that came to mind, like, oh my gosh, these people get to know this?
Absolutely. And then that I think I've already shared, it's this purpose, vision, and goals. When you begin to craft your vision statement, then out of that, your purpose will begin to come to light. It's not something you're going to create overnight. It's something that you're going to write and rewrite again as your awareness. You spend a little time with it. Think of it like dating and marriage. You don't marry the first person that asks you out for coffee, hopefully. The marriage doesn't usually last very long if you do, but you spend time with it. You get to know it. You really start to dig into what that vision looks like. And out of that, you're going to start understanding what that purpose is. And when you know that purpose, like I said, all those other decisions, they just become so much easier. For instance, my dad passed away a number of years ago, and I was the executor of the estate, so I had to look after selling the house. Now, my brother, who lived a lot closer to my dad, was looking after fixing up the house so that we could get it on the market. And he had these wonderful visions. He was looking at all these other houses in the area and like, you know what, how about we take the money from Dad's estate and we buy a couple of houses and I'll work on them and I'll flip them. And I'm like, you know what, 10 years ago, I may have said yes, but now I know that's not my purpose. I know my purpose, and that's not it. If you want to do that, you go ahead, but that's not for me. Thank you very much. And I made it in a snap. And that's why, getting on a call with you doing this, I could be out and doing something else. I could be watching a movie but this is my purpose, helping people raise their awareness and understand they are in control of their life. Their choices make their life. Making better choices make for a better life.
We only have a couple other minutes, but I would love for you to touch a little bit more on that. Like, that hit right there. the choices we make in life daily. We kind of spoke about it at the beginning, but I'd love for you if there's any other little nuggets that you have about those little choices when it comes to our daily actions.
Absolutely. I'm sure your viewers may have heard of the story of the marshmallow experiment with 5-year-olds. They gave a group of 5-year-olds a marshmallow, and they told them that if they don't eat it, and when the adult comes back in 5 minutes, they'll get 2 marshmallows. Well, the ones that were able to not eat the marshmallow and got the 2 marshmallows later, they followed up with them years later, and they found that they were much more successful than the ones that ate the marshmallow and then didn't get the second marshmallow. So it is about understanding what the long game is. Some of our choices, they're convenient, they're efficient, but they're not necessarily effective. So understanding that what our choices are today, what are the long-term repercussions? Stop trying to play the short game, look at the long game. And that's why I love John Maxwell's book, Today Matters, because if we make these decisions when we're in our early adulthood, then the rest of our life is much more focused and much easier.
Yeah, and it's even easier these days where you can, order your groceries, food, an Uber, all that from the convenience of your home, right? So it's not easy by all means. We can do the hard things and make life easy, or do the easy things and make life hard. I think that's Jim Rohn that speaks on that. So such a pleasure having you on here. And I know you do have a free gift for all of the listeners and viewers. So I'd love for you to touch a little bit on that and what that's about.
Absolutely. If you're interested in having spending a little more time on figuring out what your purpose, vision, and goals are, because there's a lot of questions I know that you've got and that can really help you hone in on that. There is a worksheet that you can download, and that's exactly what it's going to help you do. And yes, there's a lot of pages and a lot of questions, but like I said, it's like dating. You want to spend some time with yourself to really understand yourself, because that's where everything comes from. Understanding who you are, what it is that you're gifted with, and how you're going to use those gifts to make an impact in the world.
Powerful. And once you understand that, that's when it gets really fun.
Absolutely. That's where the most satisfaction comes from.
100%. Where can these viewers, these listeners find you on social media, your website, etc.?
All right. So I am the only Lorna Weston-Smyth on social media. It's Weston, WESTON-SMYTH. So you put that in and you'll find me on Facebook, you'll find me on LinkedIn. My website is www.lornawestonsmith.com, no hyphen there, but you'll find me. You put in Weston Smith and I'll come up. I guarantee it.
Well, awesome. It's been a pleasure. So many good little tips. I'm going to get to rewatch this again because there are some things I really want to pull out and write down that you went over. So thank you again for making your time, and so happy to hear that you are in that passion and this is fun for you and you're doing what you are called to do. So thank you again.
Thank you so much for the invite, Justin. It's been great talking to you, and I hope that this has been helpful to all your viewers.
I'm sure it has been. Thank you again.
Thanks.